Rafi, welcome to SHOWstudio. First question, you've just been performing in Shanghai. Tell me, how do you feel when you're on stage?
I feel amazing. I feel electrified on stage. I feel energy from the crowd, depending on how energetic the crowd is, I feel amazing.
You've said before, I've done fashion, I've done movies, videos, music. How would you define yourself? What would you say you do?
I would say I'm a Renaissance man.
What does it mean to be a man in 2017?
Man, it's lit. Yeah. It's to be the man in 2017. It's lit.
Do you think you're a good role model?
I'm the best role model.
Why is that?
Because I'm not a role model.
Do you not feel like you have a responsibility to young people who look up to you?
Yeah, and I think I do a good job at being responsible for those who look up to me as far as making good decisions, career-wise, as far as being an entrepreneur, making money, commodities, entities, etc., etc. So, yeah, but as far as me, tighten up my act, not smoking, shit like that, fuck that.
You said making good decisions. What's the best decision you've ever made?
Man, staying handsome. Yeah, because it can get ugly quick, feel me?
I want to talk to you a little bit about fashion. Just talk to me, you've spoken a lot about Raf Simons in the past, but I want to know what it is about Raf's clothing that you think is sort of so pioneering.
I mean, Raf is a pioneer within itself. Raf working with Jill Sander, a lot of his early collections I connected to, so since a teenager, all his stuff has been about being rebellious and being a teenager and whatnot, I think Raf's designs and his aesthetics was crazy too, so we fuck with Raf. I've been fucking with Raf since day one out the gate, as a designer and as an artiste.
You've spent a lot of time sort of within the fashion community, and you've spoken out in the past about homophobia within the world of hip hop, and I'm interested in what's happened through your work in fashion, if you feel like you've gone a long way in making that less of a problem, and if you think it's still a problem.
I don't know if it really was ever really a problem, but it was a thing. Or is a thing, For me, I live life, I don't really prejudge people. I don't have preconceived notions about gay people and no shit like that. Like, people's people, you know what I'm saying? You got good people, you got bad people. It is what it is, man, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just like, I don't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying?
But do you feel a desire to sort of change the reputation of the industry in terms of its treatment of gay people?
I think what's going to be is what it's going to be, and how I said prior, I do a good job at being a leader because it's just like those kind of leadership skills and showing people that having, judging people without meeting them is just wrong. I think, people, you just lead by example. That's it. You can't really dwell on what's really going on if people aren't catching on. You just got to keep doing your thing, and hopefully the smart ones know how to follow suit. That's it.
It's interesting you said to let people be people, because I read an interview with you where you were talking about sort of your upbringing and sort of some of the difficulties that you faced, and you talked about how you kind of, in a way, you never actually completely wanted to fit in because you kind of liked being a bit different. You didn't want to feel ordinary. Mm-hmm. And I wondered, do you still sort of feel like an outsider today?
Yeah, I think that's what makes us cool, man. The outsiders, I guess.
But are you worried about the point where you feel like you're sort of in the industry, like you're accepted, like you don't have that sort of chip on your shoulder anymore?
Nah, I ain't tripping.
Elaborate on that a little bit.
I mean, in what way? What do you mean?
Well, why do you like this idea of not being ordinary?
It's just, I just take it, it is what it is. I'll come to terms. I'm not in denial. I've realized, that I'm not ordinary. Ain't nothing ordinary about me. From my looks, from the way I think, from the decisions I make. It's nothing ordinary. My lifestyle ain't ordinary, so I accept it. If it means that me being unordinary is an outsider, is fuck it. I'm an outsider then. Call me what you will. I'm cozy, I'm chilling, I'm happy to be here. From Harlem, uptown, you know what I'm saying? That's about it.
Talk to me about the influence that Harlem's had on you.
What you mean? That's where I'm from.
Yeah, but you talked about how you love London, how it's your favourite city, and like, you know,
Because
where do you feel at home?
people don't know that. People know about Harlem with me already. I'm Harlem, so you know they don't know the size of London and me recording my music out there. That's significant to music. Harlem's where I'm from. Look at all my 200, 300 videos and interviews of me talking about it. You'll learn a lot.
Talk to me a little bit, just going back to Harlem's and sort of going back to elements of your upbringing. You're someone who's dealt with loss in the past, friends, family. Just what impact has that had on who you are? And would you say that that's something that shapes sort of your approach to music and your career?
No matter what, you're going to lose people in life. That's part of life. People die every day, right? Some of your people die. And some people affect you more and some people affect you less. And that's life, kids. There you have it.
How do drugs affect and shape your creativity?
I mean, sometimes drugs have an influence on it. Sometimes drugs just has an influence on me. For the most part, that's probably one of the poor decisions that I make as an adult, you know, but like I said, I strive to be a perfectionist, but no one's really perfect, so fuck it.
Do you plan on stopping?
Stopping what?
Taking drugs?
29. What?
I noticed in some of your interviews in the past you're really comfortable talking about sex, but you don't really like talking about love. Why is that?
Let's talk about drugs again. Let's not call it drugs. When you call it drugs, you make me sound like a fucking crackhead, miss. Like, at the end of the day, I do LSD, love, sex, dreams. I smoke marijuana. I mean, Bob Marley did it. Ganja. It's the earth. It's the roots. It's the motherland. You feel me? Like, that's just natural right there. You know what I'm saying? I ain't justifying what I do. I'm just letting you know how it is. Like, I don't do no fucking drugs. Like, at the same time, it's like, to each his own. It's people who do tobacco and it kills them quicker than half of the drugs I've used, like weed. All of y'all do weed. Everybody do weed. Everybody smokes weed. It's the truth, man.
I sense you kind of didn't like that question, and you said to another interviewer at one point, you said, people want me to answer questions that they already know the answer to. There's nothing to talk about. So I'm interested, is there anything that you'd like to sort of have your voice heard on? Is there stuff that people don't ask you that you want to talk about?
Yeah, they do, but nobody's asking, so, you know.
What do you want to talk about then?
All the things that you want to ask me, you know.
How many times have you been in love?
Why, are you single?
No.
Quite nosy. A few.
Do you think it shaped your creativity?
Yeah, I think love definitely plays a part in creativity, or just moods and emotions on the daily.
I'm interested in some of the ways that you've talked about women, because you've said you said women kind of do everything better, they make better decisions, they're the future. Would you say you're a feminist? Nah,
I mean, I just practice like the feminist ways, man. I got a lot of the beliefs, but I'm too ASAP Rocky, man, to be a feminist, right? You know, I think like the way I look at women as far as just like God's best creation might come across misogynistic, or just, I don't know, like, looking like I'm just using women as a object or something like that. And, you know, it's really infatuation and admiration. A lot of people share it. It's all about how you like verbalize that. So, you know, I support feminists all the way, because I agree, man. It's like, it's a male dominant world for the most part, you know, predominantly. And I think at some point people are gonna stop caring about, like, oh, she has a vagina, she can't do this, she can't do that. But he could do this, he could do that. You know, I said it before. It's gonna start changing.
So if you had a daughter, would you bring her up how you bring up your son?
I wanna have a daughter, because I feel like if I have a son, I might like, he might be too tea, man. He might be too lit. I feel like a daughter would definitely calm me down when I'm ready to have little ones. You know, I want to have a daughter. Yeah. And I'm gonna allow my daughter to be free at 29, you know. That's what I would do. I mean, well, she'll be a baby at this point, but you know, when she gets of age, I would hope that I'm still in the, you know, same mind state to where it's just like, I will let my daughter be free. I'm a hippie, man, a modern hippie. So, you know, I want her to be a free spirit. As long as I could develop a best friend relationship with her, I could protect her from a lot of things, and the rest she just has to experience with life, because, you know, certain things that mommy or daddy can't tell you that you just got to go through. So that's just a part of life. So yes, I would kind of bring my daughter up with those ways, but me and my son would party way too hard, so I want a daughter.
I have another question. You're probably bored of being asked about this, but I kind of actually want to give you an opportunity to talk about it without sort of putting words in your mouth.
Disclaimer.
It's a video. But like, can you clarify for me, I'm going to ask an open-ended question, your opinion on the Black Lives Matter movement, because you've said different things that have been all reported and condensed into these sound bites, and I'm interested in what you actually think. Because people talked about you referring to it as a bandwagon, but I felt like they'd taken one word out of your sentence, so just...
I feel like a lot of people bandwagon it. I didn't say it. It was a bandwagon. And when it comes to Black Lives Matter, I'm not gonna lie, at first I didn't fully develop the concept of it. I didn't fully understand it, because what it really should be is, does Black Lives matter to white people in America? You know what I'm saying? Because when you ask me as a black man if Black Lives matter, hell fucking yeah. But that's not the question. So yes, Black Lives matter. In my life. And everybody's life. All the special people.
Do you get discriminated against, do you think?
Probably. Give a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think about Donald Trump?
Don't ask me no shit like that on camera, sweetheart. Next question.
Fine.
You know better than that.
It's a good question.
It's not a good question. Don't play yourself.
Okay, fine. You talked before about how you're not a celebrity or famous. Do you like being famous?
It's a contradiction. It's a paradox, because I'm a fucking celebrity, but I don't do celebrity things. I don't really conduct myself like a celebrity all the time, you know? I like to walk around the street sometimes. I like to smoke weed and walk around the street sometimes. I like to chill with my bros in the street sometimes. You know, you can't really do that as a celebrity. I like to go from point A to point B freely, and I do sometimes. Yeah.
You've talked about how if you died now you'd be a legend, and I'm interested in, if you did actually sort of die, what would you want your legacy to be? What's the most important thing you want people to talk about?
When I die, I just want to submit my skull to the museum so, you know, they can have my teeth and stuff. And like, that's what people gonna be talking about, how like this nigga like died, but he's still swagging on us with the teeth and shit. Like, or that sounded lame, but like in retrospect, that's gonna be fire. Nobody thought of that. Why somebody try to do that? Why somebody try to do that? Did it first. Me and Michelle Lamy, our skulls gonna be like side to side, like you saying, all teeth still there, jewels, crystals, diamonds, golds, all that. Yeah.
It's interesting how you talked about Michelle Lamy there, because in interviews in the past you've talked about sort of your admiration for fashion people. You know, you talked about how if you could invite anyone to dinner, it'd be Franco Cesani, who used to do Italian Vogue. And there's a quote from a past interview you did. You said everyone in the hood wants to compensate for being in poverty, so they want to look good. And you talked about sort of how they spend money on clothing in a way of sort of fashioning this identity. And do you still, is that the most important thing about fashion to you, the way it can transform you, even if it's just in your own head, from being someone to someone else?
Nah, man, I mean, like, you just asked me like 5 questions in one, so I try to answer that as much as possible. Like, I think, like, when it comes to fashion, it is what you make it, you know? Fashion is just like an expression, and it's like an individual expression, depending on your, you know, daily wardrobe. As far as kids in the ghetto and fashion goes, like, you gotta realize, like, our parents didn't have money to put us through, like lessons and instrument lessons in school for that kind of shit, and the fashion school and none of that. So we had to really like get it from role models. It was just like rappers and drug dealers, Run DMC and Al Poe, Richard Porter, something like that, right? You know what I'm saying? So like that was our culture. I don't know who my great grandfather is, you know, because due to circumstances, unfortunately, in America, we not gonna say what happened, but that's just how it is. I don't know who like a lot of my relatives is. Therefore, I don't know my native culture. We developed our own culture. Our culture is not only being, you know, African American in America and making nothing out of something, but you gotta realize all it took was just like scraps of records and people gathering around in the park for a genre to start, you know, and that genre led to fashion, and you know, you had to look a certain way if you listen to this kind of music, and you had to move a certain way and dance a certain way if you listen to this kind of music. You talked a certain way, you had a certain attitude, your art, graffiti was a certain way. It just all stemmed from hip hop, and we are all representations of that when we come from the hood across the world, across the globe, and you know, that's where it is, and that's how I see fashion. It is what it is, you know what I'm saying?
Last question, what do you think that kid, you know, you when you were 6, 7, 8 or 9, what would he think if he could see you now?
He'd be like, we made it, like, lit. You did that shit, you know what I'm saying? Word, salute. I'm everything I wanted to be. I turned out even better.